stared at the old radio equipment in front of him and sighed. The night shift on the colony ship New Dawn was always boring. Outside the windows, space looked the same as it always did. Black, empty, quiet. "You look tired," said. She sat across from him, drinking her third cup of coffee. Her eyes had dark circles under them. "I am tired," said. "We both are. When was the last time we had an interesting show?" Laughed. Define interesting. Last week, someone called in to complain about the food again. The week before that, we talked about water recycling for 2 hours. Groaned. This is supposed to be entertainment radio. We're supposed to make people laugh and feel good. Instead, we're putting them to sleep. The colony ship had been traveling through deep space for 3 months. There were 5,000 people on board, all heading toward a new planet to build a home. Most days were the same. Wake up, work, eat, sleep, repeat. His radio show was supposed to break the routine, but even he was getting bored. "Wait," said. She sat up straight. "What about that segment idea you had, the funny one?" Thought for a moment. "Oh, Messages to the Void." "Yes, that one, where you send jokes into space." Had almost forgotten about it. A few weeks ago, he had pitched the idea to the station manager. The concept was simple. They would broadcast silly messages, jokes, and stories into deep space on open frequencies. It was pointless, of course. No one was out there to hear them, but it might be fun. "Mean approved it yesterday," said. "I forgot to tell you." Mean was the chief communications officer. He controlled all the broadcasts that went out from the ship. He was a serious man who rarely smiled, but even he had liked the idea. He said it would boost morale. "So let's do it," said. "Right now we have nothing else." Looked at the clock. It was 2 in the morning ship time. Most people were asleep. "Okay," he said. "Why not?" He adjusted the microphone and switched on the broadcast system. The red light blinked on. They were live. "Good evening, night shift workers and insomniacs," said in his radio voice. "This is, and I'm here with, tonight, we're trying something new. We're going to send messages into the great void of space." "Because we have nothing better to do," added. "Exactly. So, let's start with something fun. Let me tell you about Earth's old vampire legends." Raised an eyebrow. "Vampires, really?" "Yes, really. Back on Earth, humans used to tell stories about creatures that drank blood. They were called vampires. Pale skin, sharp teeth, lived forever. They hunted humans at night." Leaned back in his chair, getting comfortable. "So here's my message to the universe. If there are any cosmic vampires out there, any blood-sucking aliens looking for prey, I want you to know something important." He paused for dramatic effect. "Humans would be terrible prey, the worst you could find." Started laughing. "What are you doing?" "I'm serious, think about it. Modern humans are full of caffeine. We drink coffee all day. Our blood probably tastes like burnt beans." "That's true," said. "I've had 4 cups today." "And our sleep schedules are terrible. We stay up all night staring at screens. We eat processed food full of chemicals. We take medications for everything. We're basically walking poison." Was warming up to the topic now. "Plus, we're stressed all the time. Stress hormones everywhere. Any vampire trying to drink human blood would probably get a stomachache." Was laughing so hard she had tears in her eyes. "Stop, stop. My sides hurt." But kept going. "So this is my official invitation to all the space vampires out there. Come to Earth. Try to hunt us. I dare you. You'll regret it. We taste bad, we fight back, and we'll probably give you indigestion. Humans are not worth the effort." He switched off the microphone and grinned at, "There. Message sent into the void." "That was ridiculous," said, wiping her eyes. "And also kind of brilliant. People are going to love it." The next morning, the segment was the talk of the ship. People stopped in the hallways to tell him how funny it was. The station manager said ratings had gone up. Even Minu cracked a small smile. For the next 3 days, life went back to normal. did his regular shows, made her coffee. The ship moved through space toward its destination. On the fourth day, Minyu appeared at the radio station. His face was pale. He wasn't smiling. "We need to talk," Minyu said. His voice was quiet. Looked up from his notes. "What's wrong?" "Your broadcast, the vampire joke, something happened." Set down her coffee cup. "What do you mean something happened?" Minyu pulled out a data pad and placed it on the table. 3 days ago, you transmitted that message on open frequencies, right? "Yes," said. "That's what we agreed on, random frequencies sent into deep space." "Well, something responded." The room went silent, felt his stomach drop. "That's not possible." "I thought so too, but look at this." Minyu played an audio file. There was static at first, then a clear voice. It spoke in perfect Korean. "Challenge accepted. We arrive in 30 cycles." His hand started shaking. "This is a joke, right? Someone on the ship is messing with us." Minyu shook his head. "I checked. The signal came from outside the ship, far outside. It originated from a point approximately 40 light-years away, and it came in on the exact same frequency you used." Stood up. "What does 30 cycles mean?" "I think it means 30 days, Minyu said. 30 solar cycles, 1 month." Couldn't breathe. His stupid joke about vampires had gotten a response from something out there in space, something that spoke Korean, something that was coming. "We need to tell the captain," said. "I already did," Minyu said. "He's calling an emergency meeting. You need to come with me, right now." As they walked through the ship's corridors, his mind raced. He had been joking. It was supposed to be funny. Messages to the void weren't supposed to get answers. But something had answered. And it was coming. In 30 days. The ship suddenly felt very small and space felt very big. Had spent his whole life thinking humans were alone in the universe. Now, he knew they weren't. And whatever was out there, he had just invited it to come find them. The joke wasn't funny anymore. The asteroid field looked like a graveyard of broken planets. Massive rocks tumbled through space, colliding and breaking apart in slow motion. Gripped the shuttle controls as he navigated between 2 asteroids the size of mountains. The shuttle shook and groaned with every movement. 9 detected on the asteroid at coordinates 447-229, Arya announced. "Warning, the asteroid is experiencing tectonic instability. Recommended action, find a different source." "We don't have time for different sources," muttered. He guided the shuttle closer to the unstable asteroid. Through the window, he could see cracks running across its surface, glowing with a faint blue light. 9. He put on his spacesuit and activated the mining drone had given him. The drone launched from the shuttle and attached itself to the asteroid's surface. Its drills began cutting into the rock, extracting chunks of the glowing mineral. That's when the first meteor shower hit. Small rocks pelted the shuttle like bullets. Alarms screamed. Through the controls hard to the left, barely avoiding a chunk of debris the size of a car. The shuttle spun, and he fought to stabilize it. "Hull breach in Section 3, Arya reported. "Oxygen levels dropping." "I can see that," sealed his helmet and kept his eyes on the drone. It had collected about half the 9 he needed, just a little more. Another impact rocked the shuttle. This one was bigger. The lights flickered and died, replaced by emergency red lighting. Seat restraints dug into his shoulders as the shuttle tumbled. "Engine 2 is offline. Engine 1 at 30% power," Arya said. "We need to leave now." "Not yet," watched the drone. 75% collected. The asteroid beneath it cracked wider, pieces breaking off into space. "The asteroid is fragmenting. In approximately 90 seconds it will explode. We will die." "I know, just a little more." 90%. The asteroid began to glow brighter, pressure building inside it. 100%. "Got it, Arya, bring the drone back." The drone detached and flew toward the shuttle, opened the cargo bay doors. The drone slipped inside just as the asteroid exploded behind them, sending a wave of debris in all directions. Fired the remaining engine at full power. The shuttle lurched forward, shaking like it would tear apart. Rocks hammered the hull. One pierced through the cargo bay, missing the 9 container by inches. Then they were clear, floating in empty space beyond the asteroid field. Let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. "Damage report," he said. "Extensive. We can make it back to the station, but barely. And you need to do the extraction now. We're 18 hours from the station. If you wait, there won't be time." Looked at the medical kit had given him. He'd never done anything like this before. The kit contained needles, tubes, and a device that would extract bone marrow from his hip. The instructions were clear but terrifying. He set the shuttle on autopilot and moved to the small medical area. His hands shook as he prepared the equipment. The extraction would take an hour. He'd be in pain the whole time, and if something went wrong, he'd be alone in space with no help. "Are you sure about this?" Arya asked quietly. "No," admitted, "but I'm doing it anyway." He positioned the extraction device against his hip bone. The instructions said to inject a local anesthetic first, but he'd used most of it to sterilize the equipment. He had maybe half of what he needed. "This is going to hurt," he said to himself. He activated the device. The pain was immediate and overwhelming. It felt like someone was drilling into his bone because someone was. The device bored into his hip, reaching the marrow inside. Bit down on a cloth to keep from screaming. Tears ran down his face. The extraction needle went deeper. Could feel it inside his bone, pulling out the marrow he needed. Every second felt like an hour. His vision blurred. He wanted to pass out, but he forced himself to stay conscious. If he passed out, the extraction might fail. 30% complete, Arya reported. His entire body was shaking. Blood ran down his leg where the needle entered. The pain was beyond anything he'd experienced. He thought about floating in that medical tank. He thought about her wanting to study medicine to help people. She was worth this pain. 60% complete. His consciousness started to fade. The edges of his vision went dark. He could hear his heart beating too fast in his ears. 80% complete. Stay awake. If you lose consciousness now, the extraction could cause severe damage. Still here, gasped. 100% complete. Extraction successful. The device from his hip immediately collapsed to the floor. Blood pooled beneath him. He tried to move to apply pressure to the wound, but his body wouldn't respond. "Arya, the marrow. It's safely contained, but you're losing too much blood. You need medical attention." "How far from the station?" 16 hours at current speed. Laughed weakly. It hurt to laugh. "Then I guess I'll rest." He closed his eyes. When he woke up, the shuttle was shaking violently. Through the window, he could see Nexus 7. They'd made it back, but something was wrong. Alarms were blaring. "Arya, what's happening?" "The damaged engine is failing. I've been trying to wake you for the past hour. We're going to crash into the docking bay." Dragged himself to the pilot's seat. His hip screamed in pain. Blood had soaked through his space suit, but he gripped the controls and fired the maneuvering thrusters. The shuttle wobbled into the docking bay, scraping against the walls. Sparks flew. Metal screamed. Fought to control the descent, but the ship had other ideas. It hit the floor hard, skidded 50 feet, and crashed into a stack of cargo containers. Everything went quiet. The docking bay doors opened and workers rushed toward the crashed shuttle, tried to stand but fell. He grabbed the container of bone marrow and the 9. These were what mattered. He had to get them to the medical center. Hands grabbed him. Human voices shouted. Someone was calling for a doctor. "The marrow," said, holding up the container. "Get it to medical center. Patient named, she's dying." A face appeared above him. It was looking worried. "Kid, you're dying too. You need help." Her first said, "Promise me her first." Took the container. "You're the most stubborn human I've ever met." "Good," whispered, and finally let the darkness take him. Woke up in a medical chamber next to us. Through the transparent walls, he could see her in the adjacent room. Doctors were working on her, combining his bone marrow with the nine. Her skin was still gray, but machines hummed around her with purpose. "You're awake," a voice said. A human woman in a doctor's coat stood beside his chamber. Her name tag read Dr. Myra. "You almost died. Blood loss, radiation exposure, infection. Take your pick." Asked weakly. "We started her treatment 3 hours ago, but we have a problem. The medical chamber costs 10,000 credits per hour. The treatment takes 20 hours. You have 93,000 credits left. You're 67,000 short." Closed his eyes, so close. They'd come so close. "There's more," Dr. Myra continued. "You also need treatment. The radiation exposure from the extraction is killing you. Your treatment will cost another 80,000 credits." "Give it all too," said immediately. "Thanks." "I said give it too. Use every credit I have left for her treatment. Just save her." Dr. Myra looked at him with an expression he couldn't read. "You're willing to die for a stranger." "She's not a stranger anymore," said, "Please." Dr. Myra left without another word. Through the chamber wall, watched the doctors work on. He'd done everything he could. If he died now, at least he'd tried. At least he'd stepped in when no one else would. Hours passed, drifted in and out of consciousness. Each time he woke, he looked for her. She was still there, still fighting. Then something unexpected happened. The door to the medical center burst open. Walked in, followed by a dozen other humans. They were dock workers, shop owners, transport pilots. People had seen around the station but never really talked to. "What's going on?" Dr. Myra asked. "We heard what the kid did," said. "Sold his ship, flew into an asteroid field, nearly died saving an alien who nobody else would help. He dropped a credit chip on the counter. Here's 5,000 credits, it's everything I have." Another human stepped forward. 10,000 from me. Was saving it for a new apartment, but this matters more." One by one, the humans placed credit chips on the counter. A woman who ran a noodle shop gave 3,000. A janitor gave 500. A young pilot gave 8,000. "Humans stick together," someone said. "And we help people who need help. That's what we do." Dr. Myra stared at the pile of credits. This is 38,000 credits." "It's a start," said. "Word spreading, more will come." And they did. Over the next few hours, humans from all over the station came to donate. Some gave thousands. Some gave only a few credits, but they all gave something. A young human woman named arrived with a camera. She was a journalist and she'd been recording the whole thing. "This story needs to be told," she said. "The galaxy needs to see this." "See what?" Dr. Myra asked. "Humanity," said simply. She started broadcasting her report across the galactic network. The broadcast showed his journey, his ship sail, the asteroid field, the bone marrow extraction, his crash landing, and now humans rallying to save both him and his voice narrated it all. "This is what humanity looks like," she said into the camera. "A man with nothing gave everything. He asked for nothing in return. He just helped because someone needed help. And now when he's dying, his people stand with him. We don't abandon our own. We don't abandon those who do the right thing. This is who we are." The broadcast went viral. Within hours, donations came from across the galaxy, not just from humans but from hundreds of species. A merchant sent 10,000 credits with a note. "I bought his ship. I feel ashamed. This makes it right." A group of young sent 20,000, protesting their own government's cruelty. The station's communication system lit up with messages. Aliens who'd watched collapse and walked away now sent apologies and donations. The station administrator, who'd threatened earlier, personally delivered 50,000 credits. "I was wrong," the administrator said quietly. "We were all wrong." The embassy arrived finally. Their ambassador looked uncomfortable. "We will pay for treatment, all of it. Our government has been, by our people. This incident has caused significant backlash." "Good," said bluntly. "You should feel ashamed." "What about treatment?" Dr. Myra asked. The ambassador hesitated. "Our funds are allocated for only." Silence fell over the room. The humans looked at each other, then started laughing. It wasn't a happy laugh. "Of course," he said. "Of course you'd only save your own. That's the difference, isn't it? Humans save everyone, you save your people." But the donations kept coming. By the time evening fell on the station, there was enough money for both treatments. Enough for, and enough left over to help others. Dr. Myra came to his chamber. "We have the funds, we can treat you both." Felt tears on his face. "Start with." "We can do both simultaneously now. You don't have to choose." "She goes first," said firmly. "I can wait a few more hours. She's been waiting too long already." Dr. Myra smiled. "You really are something special, aren't you?" "No," said, "I'm just human." The treatment began, watched as the doctors worked on. The nine and bone marrow were integrated into her body through a complex process he didn't understand, but he could see changes. The gray in her skin started to fade. Color returned slowly. Her crystalline structure began to repair itself. Hours passed. Own treatment started, machines working to flush the radiation from his system. It hurt, but he barely noticed. His eyes were on. And then, after 20 hours of treatment, she moved. Her hand twitched. Her eyes opened. They were the color of opals, swirling with blues and greens. She looked around, confused, until her eyes found in the next chamber. Their eyes met through the transparent walls. She didn't know him, didn't know what he'd done, but somehow in that moment there was understanding. Dr. Myra leaned close to his chamber. "Both treatments are successful. You're both going to survive." Closed his eyes and smiled. "Good," he whispered. "That's good." Outside the medical center, the galaxy was changing. Story had spread to billions, and people were starting to ask questions. Why did a stranger have to sell everything he owned to save a life? Why did bureaucracy matter more than compassion? Why had everyone walked past a dying woman? The answers would come later. For now, in a medical center on a space station, 2 people lived when they should have died. And that was enough. 3 days after the treatment ended, could finally walk without help. His hip still hurt where they'd extracted the bone marrow, but the pain was manageable. Dr. Myra said he'd make a full recovery. Recovered faster. Her crystalline biology had accepted the treatment perfectly. The gray was completely gone from her skin, replaced by a shimmer that changed colors in the light. She looked healthy, alive, and beautiful. They met properly for the first time in a small garden area on the station, sat on a bench, and approached slowly. She moved with grace, her crystalline body catching the artificial sunlight. She said. Her voice sounded like wind chimes. "They told me everything you did." "Didn't know what to say. How are you feeling?" "Alive because of you." She sat beside him, careful to maintain some distance. "I don't understand. Why did you help me? We'd never met. I'm not even your species." "Does that matter?" asked. "To everyone else it did. My own people left me to die. The station ignored me. Everyone walked past except you." Watched a small bird-like creature fly through the garden. Someone had brought Earth birds to the station years ago, and they'd thrived. "My mother taught me something when I was young. She said the measure of a person isn't what they do when everyone's watching. It's what they do when no one would know if they walked away." He looked at. "You needed help. I could help. That's all that mattered." His opal eyes studied him. In culture, there was something called a life bond. When someone saved your life at great cost to themselves, you owed them everything. It was a debt that could never be repaid. "I owe you a life debt," said formally. "In my culture, I am bound to serve you until—" "No," interrupted gently. "You don't owe me anything. I didn't help you so you'd owe me. I helped you because it was right." Looked confused. "But you gave up everything. Your ship, your money, almost your life. How can I not repay that?" "By living," said. "By becoming the doctor you wanted to be. By helping others like you wanted to do. That's payment enough." They sat in silence for a while, finally spoke again. "What will you do now? You have no ship, no job." Smiled. "I'll figure something out. I always do." But he didn't have to figure it out alone. Over the next few weeks, something incredible happened. The story of and spread across the galaxy. It became more than just a news report. It became a symbol. People started questioning the old ways. Why did the non-interference protocols exist? Why was profit more important than life? Why did bureaucracy matter more than compassion? Nexus 7 was the first to change. The station administrator announced new emergency medical protocols. Anyone in critical condition would receive immediate treatment, regardless of ability to pay. The cost would be covered by a fund created from donations that were still pouring in from Story. "We will no longer be a station that lets people die on our floors," the administrator said in a public announcement. "We will be better." The government faced massive protests. Young, inspired by Story and compassion, demanded change. Within a month, the old leadership was voted out. New leaders took their place, promising to reform the cruel laws that had abandoned. Herself became famous. She received offers to study medicine at the best universities in the galaxy, but she turned them all down. "I want to study with Dr. Myra," she said. "She was one of the few who helped when it mattered. I want to learn from her." Dr. Myra accepted as her student. Together, they began developing new treatments that combined different species biology, building on what they'd learned from Case. As for, he woke up one morning to find at his door. "Got something to show you, kid," said. He led to the docking bay. There, sitting in Dock 17, was a ship. It was small but new, with clean lines and modern engines. A sign on the hull read, "The Second Chance." "What is this?" asked. "Donations kept coming even after the medical bills were paid," explained. "Humans across the galaxy sent money. They wanted to replace what you lost, so we bought you a ship, better than your old one." Stared at the ship with tears in his eyes. "I can't accept this." "Too bad, it's already registered in your name," clapped him on the shoulder. "Besides, we need someone to run supplies to places that need help. Someone who doesn't care about profit, just about doing what's right. That's you, kid." A voice came from behind them. "And you'll need a medical officer." Turned to see standing there carrying a bag. "What are you doing?" "Coming with you," she said. "I can study medicine anywhere. I'd rather study it while helping people. Dr. Myra agreed to teach me remotely. And besides," she smiled, her crystalline face reflecting light beautifully, "I owe you nothing, you said, but I choose to stay anyway. Is that acceptable?" Laughed. It felt good to laugh. "Yeah, that's acceptable." The months that followed were busy, and ran medical supplies to colonies that needed them. They responded to distress calls that others ignored. Word spread about the human and who helped anyone who needed it, asking for nothing in return. Other humans joined them. A small fleet formed, all dedicated to the same purpose: help those who need help. 5 years later, returned to Nexus 7. The station had changed dramatically. The commercial district where had collapsed was now a memorial garden. In the center stood a statue of a human helping to her feet. The plaque read, "The first step in memory of the moment one person chose compassion over indifference and changed everything." Stood in front of it feeling strange. He'd never wanted to be remembered or celebrated. He just wanted to help. Joined him, now a fully trained doctor. She'd saved hundreds of lives over the past 5 years. Still uncomfortable with fame, she asked. Always admitted. Good fame was never the point, she looked at the statue. But the lesson was, and people learned it, look around. The station was different now. Medical centers that helped everyone, funds for those in need, people helping each other across species lines. The galaxy wasn't perfect, but it was better. Do you think it will last? Asked. I don't know, said honestly. But we'll keep reminding them. Every person we help, every life we save, we remind the galaxy what matters. They walked back to their ship together. There was a new distress call waiting, a colony that needed medical supplies. The job paid almost nothing, but that didn't matter. As they lifted off from Nexus 7, looked back at the station one last time. 5 years ago, he'd been a simple cargo hauler with nothing but a ship and a job. Now he was something more. Not because he'd tried to be, but because when someone needed help, he'd stepped in. And that simple choice had changed everything. Next stop, asked from the co-pilot seat. Smiled and set the coordinates, wherever they need us most. The ship jumped to, carrying them toward the next person who needed help, because in the end, that's what humanity did best. They stepped in when no one else would. They helped because it was right. They cared because someone had to. And the galaxy was better for it.